Okay, so let's have a look at this chap who I taught in the Maldives 5-day camp. Before is his old stroke, after is after 6 hours of learning the ocean walker technique in the Maldives 5-day camp. Time at the top, 1 minute 40 per 100 meters. Time at the bottom, 1 minute 30 per 100 meters. But as you can see, a lot less strokes, and we're going to find out why. So first of all, before, let's have a look what's going on. The arms are very high. Now, why are the arms very high? Well, because his eyes are very forward, what that's doing is pushing him up in the chest and the arms and dropping him down in the hip area. So it's like swimming uphill. This Jap is very strong in the chest, so he's really trying to power his chest through the water, but because those hips are down under the water, that's causing resistance and drag. It's also putting pressure on his neck. His goal is to swim the English Channel, so the further he goes, the more sore the neck is going to be, and he's going to get tired with that high cadence. So those arms are very high in the water as a result of looking forward, swimming more uphill. And what that means is every time he gets the catch, he actually pushes downwards. He's trying to pull back, but that is pressure on the neck and shoulders. And as we get older, that's going to cause a bit of tension. So the goal is to push water back, not down. That's really important. I'll repeat that. The goal is to push water back, not down in swimming. A lot of people swim high, then try and get a catch. You know, a lot of people talk about over the barrel, trying to get that hand wrapped around the water. But if you're not flexible enough, then that's going to cause pain. And the majority of amateurs that I coach push water down. And when they push water down, that lifts their chest up and that causes resistance and drag. So what we're looking for is for those arm and hand to be a little bit lower in order to easily push water back. Then there's no pressure on top of the neck as well. But in order to do that, the first thing that we need to do, and this is what I taught him in the drills, which you can learn on Ocean Walker Vimeo, is to get the eyes looking down and to get the arm lower in order to have that seesaw action to bring the hips up. And this is what we did with the drills in order to gain this nice, efficient body position, which you see at the bottom here. So if we look at the comparison, his hips are higher on the bottom video. He's swimming from side to side. So on the top video, he's very flat. Now with a big frame, that's resistance and drag. He doesn't want to pull that big frame through the water and make himself big. He wants to make himself as small as possible. And of course, if you pull yourself on the side, you're making yourself as lean minimum as possible. And you're trying to make yourself like a fish, basically. So the bottom one again, head looks down. You can see how much more immersed it is, that head. So head is the heaviest part of the body. That's helping bring the hips up. And it's also dropping the arms down in order to get a nice efficient catch with the wrist pointing slightly downwards. Here you can see here, just really smooth through the water. It also puts him in a good position for the breath, because all he's doing is pushing his temple in the water. He's grabbing a breath and then he's exhaling down, stopping, grabbing a breath again. On the top one, it's more of a lift. Now here you can't see him breathe in this small little clip at the top, but he was much higher to lift his head to take that breath. But everything is sort of slowing him down there. On the bottom one, he's got this nice rhythm of a roll, kick and pull. So every time that arm goes in, it goes in, and hand goes in from a roll of the feet, then he kicks downwards to take the feet sideways, then he pulls. So he always pulls on his side. So he's never pulling his weight round. That's really important. On the top one, he's having to really pull his weight round. He's going to feel heavier, it's going to feel more sluggish, and it's going to be more tiring as a result. In the one here afterwards, he's just dropping that arm in by his feet rolling in. So he's not actually driving his arm in at all. That just goes in a lot more efficiently. That first one, see, it's bashed in because it's coming from the chest and shoulders, and that's going to start jarring the shoulder if he's not careful as well. On the before one, legs apart, making himself bigger like we talked. And you can see rotation, but there is a big difference between rotating through the chest and shoulders and rotating purely through core rotation. And how you do the core rotation is rotating your feet, and therefore your hip drops and sends the arm in. But what you don't want to do is disrupt it with an arm chest drive, because there's less power. Again, think of these sports. Golf comes from the hips, kayak, hips, stand-up paddleboarding, hips, shot put, discus, climbing. They're all coming from the hips. That's where the power is generated. Boxing, blocking and martial arts, physiotherapy, they use the hips. So many things in life, when we run, when we stand up, it's all hips, 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 hips. So why is swimming chest and shoulders? When nothing on land of these sports that I've mentioned, they're all coming from the core. So we want to get those hips going. Sometimes when you think about turning your hips in, then your chest and shoulders want to dominate because that's how we were taught to swim. So what you want to do is try and roll those feet in to take that front off in. Imagine that you're swimming on the back end. The engine is at the back end, not the front end. That's really important because that creates the power. The core is where the power is from. Again, taking one of those sports, which is what I modeled it on, kayaking. You put your paddle in, your hips come back, powers the paddle back. If you look at golf, you take the golf swing and the back hip comes through in order for the club to power the ball. What you don't do is stop, use your chest and not your hips. So allow those hips to come through, power the stroke. It's going to be more efficient. You're going to be fast as a result. It's going to take pressure off the shoulder as you rotate into that stroke. He's gliding round about 1.5 meters on the after here, and on the top one, hardly gliding at all. So that just reduces his stroke so much by gliding, because every time it's like a free push that he's getting, saving energy. And as I say, not just for long distance, but actually shorter distance as well, saving energy and really using it for the power. His pull is the same. It's exactly the same pull, but how is he going faster? Because his body's in a more efficient position. Also, rotating into the stroke allows himself to get a better catch. And the other thing is having that lower arm and hand, which I talked about before. He gets hold of the water better. So in 6 hours, you're not going to change the strength of someone, but what you can change is the body position, the efficiency of it, which helps. It all adds up. Where is the body sat in the water? Is it up or down? And as you can see in the bottom one, the hips are higher, so he cuts through the water, make himself more efficient. Every inch that hip is down, drag and resistance, which is the before stroke. And again, to reiterate, that's the head position. Eyes should look straight down. If the eyes look forward, head comes up, arms come up, and then hips start to drop and sink. And it's like someone is dragging you down. It's like there's an anchor on your bottom end and it's just pulling you more and more down. And that's just going to feel heavy. When you go to slicing through the water with the Ocean Walker technique, with this rhythm, it's going to feel absolutely effortless. Those arms are just sweeping round with no effort at all. They're just a semicircle sweep. The top one, he's having to pick those elbows up, bash them in. As he picks them up, chest comes up, bottom half goes down, and it's all relying on power. But what he is very tight in the neck as those high elbows go up in the before stroke. So this is just 6 hours of doing the stroke, not a long time. Day 3, I think this was, of just learning it and going through the drills. As I say, again, you can learn it through Ocean Walker Vimeo, get the balance, get the stability, and then we build into the stroke. So this is very achievable. Everybody can do this. Everybody who takes this on and learns those drills can master this. And everything works out well then. So head becomes in the right position, body comes higher, slicing through the water, and everything that you want to achieve. And remember, human beings have so much oxygen and energy. You can train yourself, to be fitter and fitter. But even with that fitness, why not save energy to go longer if that's what you want to do? Why put pressure on your shoulders and neck? Why use unnecessary excess energy that you don't need to do? All these things are unnecessary if you know how to get the balance in the water, to get your head in the right position. And it all comes from the head. The head is the rudder. From the head, you're going to get a much more effective body position. The stability is going to be there, but also you're going to be able to swim from side to side, and it's not going to affect the arms, the recovery arms on top of the water either. So everything has a knock-on effect coming from the head, making the balance right, making the body get in the right position, and that's how you're going to achieve it. So give this a go. As I say, check out Ocean Walker Vimeo. I'll take you through these steps in order how to learn the stroke, and every month I add another video. And if you want to check out oceanwalkeruk.com for swim camps, then I'm starting coaching again in the UK and abroad. Thanks a lot.